welcome back to my channel. It is Rose's Randoms and we're back again with another video. This time we'll be talking about Cassandra episode 2. And if I look really tired, it's because I am. But let's get into it. So we left off in the last episode with the house being caught on fire because Cassandra did something, I don't know. She set the projector on fire. And so as I predicted, Sam's stupid husband, David, blames her, Sam, for the house catching on fire. Like, he assumes that Sam must have done something. And this is only made worse when Cassandra, like, Sam steps out the room, the kids go to bed or wherever they went, and Cassandra says to David that, oh yeah, Sam was drinking and then she spilled the wine and that tripped the electrical and that's what caused the fire. And this idiot David believes that. Like, you gotta realize this is like a robot / technology that's talking to you, right? And it's just like, you don't think that that's a little weird? I mean, I understand, like, you might be thinking, oh, like, the technology can't lie, it wouldn't lie, right? But then at the same time, it's like, how are you able to know so much and say so? Like, I'd be questioning, like, yo, this is a little bit weird. But David just takes it, like, and he runs with it. And so, of course, he goes and he blames Sam. Even, like, he was already blaming Sam, but it's like, now he's like, yeah, somebody witnessed it. So you definitely did something. Which is like, it's just so annoying because even though I realized it in the last episode, kind of, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be one of those shows or like that trope where it's like the husband just never believes the wife. It's like, acts as if she's going crazy, where it's like, yeah, you've known this woman like for so long, y'all are married, you have kids, and then something else or someone else comes in the picture and you just don't believe them. You know what I mean? It's like, it's that trope. And it's not just with husbands and wives, it's a trope with it could be like kids and parents or wives to husbands. It's just always like the case with these things. And so I'm like, okay, this trope is obviously going to be prevalent in this show. So all right. Okay, so we go to 1971 and Cassandra, human Cassandra, because she was a human at that time, she's watching her son play soccer. Her son, I don't know how old he is. He looks like he's about in high school, and that's what it seems like throughout the show. So I'm assuming he's in high school. She's watching her son play soccer outside the house, and then her husband, Horst, comes outside. And, you know, they're watching together and she's like, oh, you know, he has a game, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, this is where we find out that, like, part of the reason that the son is even on the soccer team is because the father pretty much helps, like, pay or, like, sponsors them or like, pays for their travel and stuff like that. Like, he has a really good job. He works in the lab, I believe. At least we find that out later. And so that's why the son is on the soccer team, because the son actually sucks at soccer, and it's just one of those, you know, things where it's like, yeah, your dad got money and he's providing us with money and you want to be on the soccer team, so, or he wants you to be on the soccer team, so you're going to be on the soccer team. Because the son actually does not like to play soccer. And so we find this out because, you know, Cassandra goes, oh, so he's, Horst is watching the son play soccer, and she's like, go play with your son, which is so weird to me. It's like, you see that he's like, how he's acting towards his son, but you still want him to go and play with him. And I just knew something was gonna go wrong, you know. And so he kicks the ball like really hard, and I can't remember if it hits him in the face or it's just like he's not able to catch it or whatever. And then, you know, he pretty much like says his son is like worthless or whatever, and he walks away. So the son runs, you know, away from the house, and Cassandra runs after him, and he's like, I don't want to play soccer, pretty much. And he's like, I want to do something else. And she's insistent that, like, oh, we're gonna get the coach to get you to play, or like, and he's like, no, I don't want that. And then she's like, okay, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And he like says something, it's like, oh, like I want to do like other things, right? And it's like, if you watched it, you would have gotten the sense like, oh, like, is he into more feminine stuff? Like the way that conversation went, it was just like, okay, it doesn't seem like he wants to be in sports at all. Like maybe he wants to be in more feminine perceived activities. And it was just like a little weird. And like throughout the whole like show, like I'm kind of thinking like, is he gay? Is he not gay? Like what's going on here? And the other reason that it also made me think that, because I thought there was, you know, there was gonna be this some sort of comparison between him and the son Finn in present day, who's also gay, like some sort of, you know, but I'm gonna be straight up with you, that never came. And so, but yeah, the comparison at least. But I'm like sitting here wondering like, okay, is he gay or not? So that was my thoughts in this, like, you know, scenario. And I know it doesn't make sense, but if you watch it, right, like you'd get what I'm saying. And I don't know if it could be like translations, because again, this is a German show, and so I'm not sure if like the voice actors or even like what was said made me feel like, oh, is he gay? So, you know, you'll see as you go along. Remember how Finn met a friend named Steve and they almost kissed and yada yada yada. You find out that like, okay, Steve is like undercover, you know, he's still in the closet. And so Steve actually, so Finn asks like, you know, Steve to like, you know, come hang out with him, and Steve pretty much like blows off his plans and stuff. Like he just blows off Finn. And later on we find out that it's because like, you know, Steve says to him like, oh, it's because the guys are starting to talk and like, you know, they see us together and they're starting to speculate. And it's kind of just like, what are y'all doing in front of everyone else at this point that's making other people speculate? Because it doesn't seem like y'all are holding hands. It doesn't seem like y'all are like, it seems like y'all like are just acting like friends, and maybe behind closed doors like y'all are talking to each other like you're in a relationship. But I was kind of confused at that, because I was just like, okay, like I haven't seen anything, they haven't shown us anything that would like seem to me would make other people perceive that y'all are together. But he says that, and so it's like maybe it's either that is happening and they did a terrible way, like they just didn't depict it, which I get because it's not really the main story, but also like doesn't make sense. Or Steve could just be saying that because he doesn't want it to develop into something that would be, you know, publicly showed, right? But anyways, I digress because it's not the most important part of the story, but it's important kind of, so, you know. So at the house, Sammy's at the house and she's sitting by the pool, the indoor pool that they have, and she's talking to the phone on the friend, and she's reminiscing about her sister and how her sister used to lock her in a closet, and it used to like freak her out and she used to have panic attacks. Remember, Cassandra is on the TV monitor and she can hear everything and she's listening to everything. So I already knew what was coming before it happened, as I'm sure you probably know what's coming before it happened. But she gets off the phone and then like, I think she starts to hear music and she starts walking around the house. We know it's Cassandra that started to play music, but she knows Sam is gonna be like, where's that coming from? And lo and behold, Sam is like, Cassandra, where's that coming from? Is anyone else in the house? And Cassandra's like, no, there's no one else in the house. And then, you know, she gets into the kitchen and robot Cassandra intercepts Sam's path. And she's like, oh, I need help getting the potatoes, because, you know, she cooks and stuff. Cassandra cooks for the family. And so, you know, because she got robot hands that can't, like, really necessarily, like, pick up stuff, or, like, she can't reach. And so Sam is like, okay. And the potatoes are in a closet. So Sam goes into the closet, tries to get to the potatoes, and the door locks. We know Cassandra locked that damn door. And so Sam is like, what? And she's trying to open the door, and then she's starting having these screaming panic attacks, like screaming and panicking. So a short while after this, David comes home and he lets Cassandra out of the closet, and Sam is like, oh, Cassandra locked me in, she locked me in. But David is like, no, Cassandra called the ambulance. And when she looks over her shoulder at this robot, Cassandra is like smiling at her because she know what she did. And so it's like, okay, you're trying to get rid of this lady, and it's apparent that you want her man, but like, you're a robot. Like, do you not know this? Are you not aware of this? So back in 1971, we see that human Cassandra is starting to see signs that her husband might be cheating on her. And these signs include like lipstick on his shirt, and you know, like phone calls, him staying late at night, staying at work late, and yada yada yada. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna go find out for myself what's happening. So she goes to his place of work, the lab that he works at, and at first she hears like people like doing the do, and she like opens the door, but it's not her husband and anybody else. It's two completely different people. So she goes into his section of the lab where he normally works in, and he's not in there, but then he does come in, and then you know, he pretty much tells her that like, I'm working on something that is gonna make me live forever, possibly. And then he calls in his secretary, who had called her at home, to say that he's working late. Or when she called, the secretary said he was working late. When she sees the secretary, like, she's like, oh, like slightly older, she's a bigger woman, and she's like all relieved because she's like, oh, okay, yeah, like, he not cheating with you. Like, at least I'm sure that's what she thought. And so like, she's like, you know, relieved now, you know. But it's like, there was still lipstick on his shirt, so he cheating still. I don't know what you relieved about. So Sam decides to do a little bit of digging, and she calls a real estate agent to find out who lived there before, who tells her that there was a man named Horst Schmidt that lived there before. And through her digging, Sam also finds out that Cassandra's husband and son, Horst, and her son died in 1972. And that's when, you know, that's the same year that the house had become a smart house. And that's when they died. So she figures that out. Then we see like the first signs, or somewhat of the first signs, of Cassandra trying to manipulate Juno. And like, you know, Juno's not supposed to go into the pool by herself. But Cassandra's like, oh, like, I have a surprise for you, right? And she's like, Juno's like, I can't go into the pool by myself, I'm not allowed. And Cassandra's like, it's a secret, you don't have to tell anyone. And I'm thinking it's gonna be like the worst thing in the world, or one of the worst things that she makes this kid do, but it's not. Like, she lets her go into the pool, and like, she like turns the pool all kind of different colors, and it was cute, but also at the same time it was like, yeah, you're trying to manipulate this kid into like liking you by doing cool things for her, and like by to trust you. And so that's kind of like some of the first signs of Cassandra's manipulation of Juno, or trying to take Sam's place as Juno's mother. So after dinner, they're playing charades, and like family, and Juno gets upset because Robot Cassandra is standing over there and looking all like sad because she's not a part of it. And so Juno's like, oh, can we let Cassandra play? And Sam is like, no, like, she's a robot, she can't play. And then stupid David is like, oh, let's just let her play. And so they let Cassandra play, and they let Cassandra like have a turn, and she starts pretending to be Sam. So they gotta figure out who they are, like who Cassandra is, and she's playing Sam. And she starts to say all these things, and she's like, oh, am I a woman? Like she has Sam's name on her head, sorry, because that's how you play charades. And she's like, oh, am I a woman? And they're like, yes. She's like, am I human? Do I work? And Juno says no. And this is because earlier Cassandra said to her, oh, your mother doesn't work, like your father is bringing in all the money, and you know, and Juno's like, yeah, but my mom, like, she does art and stuff, and she's like, yeah, and Cassandra's like, yeah, but that doesn't bring in a lot of money, and so, you know, it's not real work. And so this is why Juno says, you know, she doesn't work. And so when Sam is like, I do work, my sculpting brings in a lot of money. And then she's like, oh, did I have a panic attack earlier and this and that? And then it's like, okay, yeah, you gotta stop the game. And at this point, I would have ripped this damn robot to smithereens, but this doesn't happen. We just let Cassandra live, and they're like, oh, David's like, she's just a robot, she didn't do it intentionally, right? And it's like, yo, like, when are you gonna realize that it's a little weird that a robot is talking and acting and saying things the way they're talking and acting? Like, stop. Like, stop. So then Sam tells David everything that she finds out, and of course David doesn't care. He doesn't believe her. He thinks she's crazy, as usual. Like, as per usual, like, he doesn't believe her, which is to be expected in a show like this, to be expected. So in 1971, they're at dinner. Cassandra and Horst are at dinner with their friends Birgit and Birgit's husband, and Birgit is like Cassandra's best friend, and Birgit reveals that she's pregnant. And Cassandra has an odd reaction to this. She cries and stuff. So I'm like assuming, I thought that, okay, does she think that Horst is cheating with Birgit? Like, I don't really know what, like, you know, what's going on. And then when they go to the bathroom, she goes to the bathroom and Birgit like runs after her. And, you know, they kind of mentioned something about like a miscarriage, or like it's insinuated that she may have had another child that she lost or whatever. So we know that that's why she's crying. But as she's crying, she sees Birgit take out like a lipstick, and she's like, oh, like to Cassandra, put this on, or like, you know, make you feel better or whatever, right? Cassandra looks at the lipstick and she realizes that it's the lipstick, the same color that was on her husband's shirt. And this is when she realizes that, oh, he's cheating with you, which I always find stuff like that like so interesting, because it's like, is that the only lipstick like color of its kind in, like, you know, in your community or in your, you know, like in your area where you live at? Like, is that the only lipstick of its kind? It's like, yeah, she's not wrong, they are cheating, but it's at the same time, it's like lipstick, somebody having a lipstick color is gonna make you think that they're the one that your person cheating with. It's always been like, that concept has always been a little bit weird to me, but you know, it's a show, so we press on. And so the episode ends in the present day where Sam is in, you know, the bathtub, and she tells Sam straight up, I've lived here before you and your family, they're my family now. And this causes like Sam to kind of go into a panic attack, but then it's like the episode cuts there, so we don't know if this could have been a dream or if this was like reality. So I wanted to think it's a dream, because a lot of the time, like these sequences when you're in a bathtub and stuff like that, usually the person is dreaming because they fell asleep or something. But also, it's not unrealistic that Cassandra actually said this to her. So in the next episode, we're gonna find out what happened and what's going on with that. So yeah, that was Cassandra episode 2. Let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments if you've seen it. And if you haven't seen it, what do you think about this review, guys? Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.